Happy to be joined this morning by Niall McConnell. Niall is an unashamed Donegal man, and he's also the chairman or the leader of the Síol Na Christian Nationalist group here in Ireland. Niall, good morning, and how you doing?
Good man, Richard. Thanks for having me on. It's an honour and a pleasure to be joined with you today.
Yep, indeed. We've got a lot to talk about. I suppose I've got a few bullet points here to get through. But the thing that I noticed concerning the work that you do is, you've got this political movement, Síol Na, which we'll talk about in a minute, but you're also very active on the ground. Many people may have seen you at protests, leading from the front, supplying flags, supplying banners, leading the people forward, live streaming extensively on your channel. And by the way, the link through to Niall's channel will be in the description box underneath this video, so please feel free to go and check it out. So would you look at yourself as an activist or before you would call yourself a political man, or are you trying to mix them both together as effectively as you can?
I don't consider myself a politician. I'm a sheep farmer from Castlefin, County Donegal, and I feel like I'm kind of forced into what I'm doing because I've got young children, I've got a family, and I don't like the future Ireland's going down. You know, the Irish are quickly becoming a minority within our own country. All you have to do is look at England, France, and Germany to see what's happening to the indigenous people there. It's not looking good for Europe at the minute. I love my country. I love my people. I'm not afraid to say it. My loyalty is to Ireland and to the Irish people, nobody else. It's not out of hatred that I do what I'm doing. It's out of just sheer love of my own people. I love my country. I love my ancestors, my children. That's the reason I do what I do. Yes, I've ran in elections. I ran in the local election there last year in June, I believe it was, 2024. I almost got elected, but because of foreign nationals are allowed to run and vote in local elections in Ireland, you have to be a resident in Ireland. This is what they officially say. If you're a resident in Ireland, which means you can destroy your passport coming into Ireland, and within 6 months, you can run in elections and vote in elections. And not only that, the Irish regime were busing these migrants to the polling stations, and they're voting en masse. And of course, they weren't voting for me. And I just lost out on a handful of votes in the local elections, and I ran the general election again just to raise awareness. Like, I really don't want to get into politics. I don't want to be elected, to be quite honest with you. I'm just doing this for my children, for my country, for Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And like you said there, yeah, we're a protest. We're helping a lot of the small protests around the country. We were in Roscommon there last weekend. There's a proposed iPass center, a migrant center opening up there in Roscommon, and we just said, look, if you want flags, if you want banners, if you want signs, if you want to, I can, like what I did as well. The couple of days before the protest went, on the Saturday, the protest was on, but on the Thursday, I brought on the organizer of the protest from Roscommon, and just to promote the protest, to raise awareness. And if you see, on my social media platform on Roscommon, the optics are very, very good. I think it's very, very important that we have good optics. So when people, like, I noticed that John Wilson, I was talking to John Wilson about this, the great John Wilson, that he was looking at the people on the footpath, the sidewalks, observing what they were doing. The people who didn't actually join us, but they were applauding us, and they were encouraging us on. And he said he never seen that before. And I think it's a lot to do with the optics. Things look good, and people want to be a part of something that looks professional and organized. And that's what we are bringing to these protests all over Ireland.
I'm just showing some, these are still photographs that I took down in Drogheda a few weeks ago. And I believe you supplied the vast majority, if not all of these flags, these tricolors, and also the placards, and this big banner that's been wheeled out on more than one occasion. You're certainly getting a lot of mileage out of this banner as well. It's usually put out at the front of the protest, and as you can see here, anyone that's not aware of this, the optics are fantastic. I mean, like, that looks really good. It looks really professional. But it's worth noting as well here now, if you look at the people that are carrying these flags. They're not terrorists. They're not far right thugs,
Skin
extremists, and all this, skinhead
skinheads.
or
Yeah.
Nazis or anything
Hmm.
like that. Look at this optic here, for example. You've got a little guy marching to the left of that picture. You have some elderly folk behind. You have men, you have women, you have a little girl on the right hand side of the screen there. This is another shot here. That's a grandmother walking along there with what looks like her daughter. There's a baby in a pram in the first scene of that picture as well. And then that was a march that walked through the town peacefully. Culminated in a local park where people gave speeches. And in fact, the only trouble that was there that day was from a left-wing loon who I believe is some way linked into Michael D. Higgins, who verbally abused Philip Dwyer as he was walking along the road trying to get some crowd footage. And his language was horrific and disgusting. And as you can see, there was a lot of kids there that were actually listening to what he was saying. There was no trouble from the flag wavers or no trouble from the Ireland is Full Brigade there, but rather the opposite. It seemed to be that the trouble was coming from the other element that were there, these counter protesters that you see out at many of these so-called demonstrations.
No, you make a good point there. Like, I've been doing this, attending protests for over a decade. Our side, the Irish nationalist side, we are always peaceful. We, like you said, there's children there, there's grandmothers, there's grandfathers. We are always the peaceful ones. We never initiate any violence or aggression. It's always the far left. They're all like I've been assaulted multiple times, and I've pressed charges, and they've got convicted in court a number of times. I've been assaulted many times by Antifa, and it's always the far left. But if you listen to RT and the mainstream media, you swear it's these so-called the boogeymen far right that are these violent extremists, but it's not. It's the far left. If you go to these protests, it's just small communities, small towns that have a fear about their towns and communities being turned upside down. The perfect example there, where I met you first, actually, is Carrickmacross in County Monaghan. There was a young children or young girls talking about how they cannot walk the streets anymore at Carrickmacross. They need their brothers, their fathers to escort them down the streets because it's so unsafe. This is the reality now that a lot of we small towns in Ireland are facing, and we are doing our best to help them out. A lot of people who are organising these protests, these organic grassroots pop-up protests, they're not politically astute. They're just concerned parents, concerned sons and daughters, and they don't know how to set up a protest or don't know what to do. And they don't have flags, banners, signs, whatever. And people don't maybe. Some people say, no, there's no need for all them flags. There's no need for the banners, the signs. But it is actually very, very important. Optics is essential for when you're walking down the street with a banner. You're led by a message. You're organized. You look serious. You've got all the flags. It looks really, really good. And you compare that to just people walking down the streets. It's not as appealing for people who might be watching it on social media or people who are standing on the sidelines, because we need this to grow and grow and grow. And we will come to a tipping point where we're hoping we'll get well over 1 million people out to these big protests in Dublin. That's what we need. Like you saw with the water charges protests, like we had hundreds of thousands, if not over 1 million people coming to the streets. And that's what we need here as well. And I think we're growing and growing. That's why the protests are actually very, very important.
On that subject, okay, and I've seen and tried to attend whatever ones I can based on my own workload and family commitments and access to transport. You know how it is. It's not a case of you can just drop everything and go to every protest. But the ones that I've seen, I can definitely see momentum building. Okay, and I suppose well, in my opinion, the biggest one so far was the one in April in Dublin. It was crazy. The weather was good that day. There was definitely 50k plus people marching down O'Connell Street, and then they went on and they had a rallying point and they had speeches. There was another big protest in Dublin about a month ago. You had the one in Cork. There's another one coming up in Waterford, I think, on the 26th, and then they have another one planned for Galway at the start of August. Now, these are all bigger towns and cities in Ireland, okay? And, people are crying out, well, when are you coming here? When's the big protest coming there? I think people need to realize also that if you leave it to organizers, or the people that are in the inner sanctum or the committee of who decides where these protests happen and who's going to be speaking there and what's the agenda behind it. You could have a very, very long wait before they come to your town. Is it not also highlighting, and you touched on the grassroots organizers here, that people do need to step up more? Not everyone, but there has to be people leading from the front saying, right, if we want a protest in Castlefin, County Donegal, you look around, there's no one doing it, then you're going to have to do it.
No, definitely. Like a lot of these protests, like an RD there, the lady who organized that was just a young mother. She's not politically involved in any way. And she just, set up a Facebook page and got RD Says No. And, it kind of organically grew. And you'd be surprised the amount of people in your town that agree with you. They're just looking for someone just to start it off or someone to kickstart it off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like in Carrickmacross, they do very good work. Castle Blaney, Roscommon there is another perfect example last week, where the lady who organized it, again, she's just a young mother. And then there's a protest. We're going to Sligo this coming Saturday, 3 p.m., Queen Maeve Square. Make sure you get out there and support the people of Sligo. Like, you should see this. They're building, like, I don't know, like a town or a village inside Sligo town. It's absolutely massive. I've never seen anything like this in Ireland yet. There's like 5 huge buildings, 3 stories high. You could probably put 1,000 men in there. That, I'm not exaggerating. It's absolutely massive. And we're protesting that this Saturday. Again, we're bringing flags, banners, placards, signs. We're advertising it. The fellas coming on has or will be on my show, depending on when this video is dropped. The organizer, just to promote his protest and to tell everybody about coming out there and why they should come out there. So we're trying to help them out the best we can. That's what we're heavily involved in the minute. Then there's protests coming up in Galway, Waterford, Newry. They're popping up everywhere. Every single week there's at least 1, if not 2 or 3 protests that we're trying to help out on.
And that's encouraging too, because it just shows that it's not a big group that are interested in going to Dublin, for example, or going to Cork. These are all smaller places. Sligo's a hell of a lot smaller. Newry, you mentioned Newry as well there, or even some of the ones that are happening in Carrickmacross. Even though that's a small town, I think the population of Carrickmacross and Monaghan's only around about 5,000 or 6,000. But the first time I saw you down at that protest, I think there was at least 1,000 people come out in that night, which was, if you think about it, 20% of the population of the town, which was pretty serious numbers for a rural small town in the middle of Ireland.
No, during Carrickmacross, there were great numbers down there, and like you say, people are starting to maybe not be so afraid to be called names. In Ireland, people have a fear of what your neighbor Mary or John might think about you or say about you, but the time is coming now where you have to make the decision, like, would you rather be called names or lose your country? Like, we have to have a serious conversation here. Like, I don't care what anybody calls me, as I'm sure you're aware. We have to stand up for your country here, for our people. We're losing it, like, as John Wilson says, in real time. We don't have time to be sitting back and allowing this to happen. We have to stand up now for our communities in your small towns, no matter where you are in Ireland, north or south. Is this coming to you? Your village or town mightn't be affected right now, but it's coming. So I would say, even organized now, set up like I don't know, Offaly Town Says No, or I don't know, Kenmere Says No. Just get it going now. I encourage everybody to get involved in their own communities, and if you need help, just like send us a message through the website, and we'll do the best to have you on the show. We'll promote your protest. We'll help you out the best we can, and we are having success at these protests. We really are. A lot of these IPAS centres have been stopped, like the one in Castle Blaney. Great crowd. They're putting the old convent, the nuns' convent. They were converting that into an IPAS centre. The application was in, and of course you had Sinn Féin, Matt Carthy, gaslighting the people of Castle Blaney and Monaghan, and said, no, there's no application for IPAS with the department. And they kept repeating that. And then eventually there was a kind of a backwards channel where they had actually applied for it through Section 5 through the council, and they had applied for an IPAS centre, and we had to call them. They got called out, and they had to admit that there was an IPAS application in. But the day after the protest, the IPAS, the building was put up for sale. So it does have an effect. And they were planning to put this iPass Centre / migrant centre beside 5 schools, like secondary schools, creches, primary schools. And that's not an exaggeration, because we were there, we were on site, and the locals pointed these sites out to me. They were just right on top of this iPass Centre. And this seems to be something that's happened around the country. Down in Kilcock, County Kildare is the same. Their proposed iPass Centre, and it's right beside schools. Bundoran, yeah, Bundoran and Donegal, County Donegal, my county. It's the same thing, right beside 2 secondary school, a primary school, and a GA pitch. There seems to be a pattern here. I don't know. It seems to be quite nefarious. But like these protests, again, I'm making the point that they do work. If there's enough people coming out, enough people, make a good noise, that these things can be stopped with, the people's power.
Just for the benefit, and funny, you mentioned Castle Blaney. I'd actually pulled up. I'm going to play it. It's only about a minute or so long, but this is for the benefit of people that are maybe tuning in here from outside of Ireland, because there's a lot of people tuning into this channel from, New Zealand and Canada and Australia, and they're very interested in what's happening. And a lot of Irish people that have left Ireland that are living around the world, they like to know what's going on the ground. So for the benefit of those people as well, this is a quick clip from the Castle Blaney protest that Niall's talking about. And I suppose this is a prequel, because he's already said that after this event they put a stop on the centre. But this is just to give people an idea what it looks like on the ground in one of these protests. Just a quick clip here.
Of our lands, of our towns, of our country, and the people of Castle Blaney have said enough. We are walking to the old convent, where there is a iPass Centre, an application in this pending now on the Monaghan County Council website. Well over 1,000 people have taken to the streets here to say enough is enough. And so there's an iPass Centre at the old convent, and there's 4 schools in the vicinity right beside this old convent, where these unvetted migrants will be put there. And so, this is what we're opposing here. We're opposing the destruction of our country, the destruction of our heritage, the destruction of the Irish people as a whole. We are quickly becoming a minority in our own country. So it's really important to share these videos with your friends and family. Let's get the Irish diaspora seeing this. Let's get everybody in England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Canada, America, Australia seeing these videos. Share it everywhere. That's the very least you can do. And if you want to get involved in real life political action, you can join as a member of Síol Na, Ireland's fastest growing political movement. I am the leader. My name is Niall McConnell. And if you want to get involved in real life political action, join now. There's a link in the description to join. You can join from anywhere, from Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, America, Canada, Australia. No matter where you are, you can join. Get involved now. Be a part of our community. And it's interesting to note, there's not one local politician here walking with the people of Castle Blaney.
So there you go. That's as good a all-encompassing clip as it goes. You mentioned the diaspora there. I hadn't actually realized that was mentioned in the clip, but it serves a purpose. Lets people see what you're up to as well. And I suppose it goes back to what I said to you at the beginning. Okay, that Síol Na is Ireland's fastest growing Christian Nationalist party, but you're active, right? You're on the ground, you're out in the streets, your members are out in the streets, they're live streaming their video and they're organizing, they're distributing flags. It's not just a mouthpiece party. It's not just a mouthpiece party where you puff and blow and do nothing. The activism is center stage.
No, 100%. Like, my YouTube channel is, I think it's like 13 and a half years old. So I've been doing this for quite a long time. And like you say, we are on the ground, that we produce, from my understanding, Ireland's only Irish nationalist newspaper in the whole island of Ireland. We've been operating the Irish Patriot newspaper for 6 years. And sometimes people ask me, like, what's the benefit of having a newspaper? Well, a lot of people, first of all, are not on social media. And there may come a time with this new hate speech legislation where people like me and yourself, Rick, might be deplatformed, and there might be no social media. So we might have to go back to the old-fashioned way of newspapers to get the news out there. And then we produce 50,000 copies per issue, and we have newspaper distributors all over the country. Our goal is to have a newspaper distributor in every single town, so everybody gets an issue of the paper. And we're handing them out all the time, putting them through letterboxes, putting them into churches, putting them in the pubs, putting them into shops where they they accept them. And we're having a good effect. Like, people message me all the time saying, "Jesus, I never knew about this newspaper, and I didn't know about that," because we talk about immigration a lot. in the newspaper. Like we talk this recent issue, we talk a lot about legal immigration, how legal immigration is in fact the big problem. The majority of migrants coming into Ireland are coming here legally, getting visas, getting work visas, getting student visas, and that is the big problem. Like there could be like 2,000 Indians coming into Ireland every single week, depending on the week. So we're facing a serious immigration crisis. We talk about what else we talk? We talk about abortion. Like there's stats recently regarding abortion in Ireland, killing of unborn Irish children. 1 in 6 babies are, as is the word they use, terminated, killed. In Ireland, 1 in 6. In England, it's 1 in 3. So we'll be going down that path too. And no country deserves a future if you decide to kill the most vulnerable of our society, unborn Irish children. And that's what we talk about abortion. We talk about the radicalization of the LGBT movement in schools as well. We talk a lot about that. That's the main kind of things we talk about, and just trying to raise awareness about what's happening in Ireland. And the paper goes to America too. We've got Irish American newspaper distributors in Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, even in California. We send bundles over there all the time, and they put them into the Irish pubs or the Irish cultural centers, things like that. So we are, and Australia too is another big place where we send the newspaper. So we're organically growing. We are a grassroots movement, and when we're getting there. We're slowly building, but we're very dedicated. We're highly motivated. That's the first thing I do in the morning. Last thing I do at night is doing our political work. Like, and I'm a sheep farmer during the day, and I've got a family and children. So it's trying to manage all that. My poor wife, she doesn't get to see me much, but she understands that we're on a holy mission here to try and save Ireland.
I was asked a question on one of the comments on one of the videos that I'd put up. Are you a member of any political party, Rick? And my answer was, no, I'm not. I won't be joining any parties. If a party's doing something good, I'll give them props. And if they're doing something bad, I'll call them out about it. Now, strangely enough, the guy that actually typed that question out to me, he ended up bumping into me down in Cork during the Cork protest. He said, I'm the guy that asked you that question. And as for, my channel on YouTube, the one that people are watching right now, I don't have a lot of guests on here. And I think you're the first one that would be lined up with any kind of political party. And people were saying, are you endorsing Niall McConnell? Are you endorsing Síol Na? And I'm not. And let me explain what I mean by that. The first time, and this links into your newspaper thing, and I'm just speaking honestly here and honest to God, the first time I saw you was down in Carrickmacross. And I remember it was a Friday night in May, and you drove up in a white van, and you'd probably come down from Donegal. So it was quite a drive on a Friday night after you'd done a week's work. And you opened the back doors of this van up, and you had a metal trolley gurney thing in the back that you hauled out. And then you must have put, I don't know how many thousands of these newspapers years on the back. Then you conscripted one of the locals from Carrickmacross, give him a tricolour, and you said, here, can you follow me around and just help me hand these out, which he did. And you handed everything out, just chucked the stuff out there like confetti to everyone. You handed me 2 copies, I've still got them. You live streamed the whole thing. You walked the streets. We were finished there by about 9:30, and then you probably headed home after that. Now, even if I didn't like you, right? Even if I didn't like Niall McConnell, or I disagreed fundamentally with a lot of things maybe that you have said or what you stood for, at the very least, I respect people that walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And I thought, that's a reasonably serious chap there doing what he's doing. And I didn't know anything really about you at that point. And then, started watching your YouTube channel, like what you were saying and whatnot. And you're consistent too. So at the very least, what I would say is check out the link to Niall's YouTube channel. There'll be a link through to his website page there as well. And listen, like me, like everybody else, not everybody's going to love you. Not everybody's going to hate you. But I would like to think that some people at least will pay you some kind of respect. Even the haters would have to begrudgingly give some respect to the people that are out there doing it, because you're not doing it you're not rattling a can when you're doing this. You're not setting up GoFundMe's per se. There's a flag fund there, but you're getting these done at cost price. You're not making a profit off this, are you?
No, absolutely not. We're out of money fortune. Sometimes, like like each flag costs us with the bamboo cane and the flag and all that. Each one costs us about €3, depending on the supplier of the flags. And the amount of labor it takes. If you sit down and do say 200, 300 flags, you get the bamboo cane, you get the cable ties, and you have to open up the flag. It takes hours and hours and hours, and we give these all out for free at protests. So we do ask for people's support. Like if they can afford a wee chip and a €10.
Yeah.
We do appreciate that, and the newspaper, like the reason I think we're the only newspaper, the Irish, we're the only ones that have their only Irish national newspaper is because it costs a lot of money to produce a newspaper. Like a newspaper, 50,000 issues could cost €10,000. Like it does cost a lot of money to print newspapers. You got to pay the graphics designer to design and lay out the newspaper. You got to pay the writers. You got to pay the editor. We like to think, well, we're a very professional organization. We do things correctly. We do things on time. We have meetings. We have objectives. We have goals. No, we're in this to win this. We're not on this here for fame or glory. Like the 99.9% of the work that I do, it's kind of boring work, meticulous work, administrative work, calling up suppliers about like our membership pack that people get. Like there's about 15 different things in it, and if one of them things is not there, like I can't send out the membership box. So like inventory is very important. We sell books and badges and flags. Like I have to go through things all the time. It's just a lot of boring work behind the scenes that I have to do as well. And I do pretty much it all. Like we do have there's a lady that helps me with the flags. There's another lady helps me with the memberships, and then I have a tech fella that is very, very good as well. He helps me with tech stuff. If I'm struggling with tech stuff, he helps me out. So we do have good people behind the scenes, but we're ferocious. We believe that we're doing God's work, and our ancestors are cheering us on with the work that we're doing. That's what we believe, and that's why we're so highly motivated for the work that we do.
Well, again, what I would say is, I mean, there's probably going to be quite a few people watch this video, which is good. Maybe there's someone out there that is good with tech or layouts, graphic design, whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying this, that maybe you can get in contact with Nile. I don't know if you're looking for any volunteers, you're looking for anybody
100%.
else.
We're always looking for skilled people. Like if you're good at tech, graphics design, even just handing out papers, like I'll give you papers for free. You'll pay for nothing. I'll send them papers down. If you're in Tullamore or if you're in County Clare, send me a message through the website or whatever, and probably link in the description, and just say, look, I don't have any money, but I'm willing to hand out papers. I'll send them to you for free. Pay for nothing. I'll give them for free.
Or even putting together the flags. You see, that's the thing with people don't understand, that a movement isn't about the people leading from the front. A movement's driven by the people that are behind the scenes and the people that are pushing from behind. So although you and I might be out at the front of a protest with a camera and we're broadcasting it and people are seeing it and think, oh, we're only documenting what the locals are doing, and we're only documenting what people are coming out of their way to do also. So the movements need admin, they need people that promote on social media, they need people to physically maybe put together flags, they need people to do graphic design or editorial work. It's not just about showing up at a protest or live streaming. It's a big beast of a thing, and it needs support in so many different areas.
No, definitely. Like we're always looking for people to help in any kind of skilled way you want. If you're, like I said, video editors, graphic designers, marketers, just volunteers to hand to people, boots on the ground, like the flags too. Like there's a lady, me and another lady, me and her do the flags. Like it's so time consuming. Like you'd be sitting there for hours and hours and hours. Your fingers are sore pulling cable ties together. Like, and that's the things that people don't see. Like there's a lot of that behind the scenes work, but it's very important because the optics again of these protests is really, really good when you've got hundreds of flags at a protest and you've got the banners, the signs, the placards, and high quality video footage for social media too. Like that one in Roscommon there last week was very, very good. It went down very, very well, and the people, the surrounding areas from Roscommon were very impressed with the protest. I know it gives momentum too to keep pushing forward. That it doesn't like peter out. That people keep going. Now they're having another 2 meetings now I think this week and next week. So it's giving them lots of encouragement too to keep going and posing these migrant centres that are popping up all over Ireland.
Okay, I want to talk about because I want to try and squeeze as much as I can in here in the time that we have. So we're going to talk about IPAS centres, and again, for anyone listening from outside of Ireland or even inside, you hear that word IPAS. What does it mean? It means International Protection Accommodation Services, or a refugee hotel or an asylum seeker camp, whatever you want. And it could be a B&B now. It could be a hotel. It could be an entire complex. It's been custom built, the like of what's happening down in Clonmel at the minute, or you mentioned what's going on in Sligo as well. Now, I have another little video clip that I want to play, which is you talking about a large mosque that is due to be built in Letterkenny. So I want to focus in on Donegal a little bit, okay? And in terms of as well, for people listening, when you talk about we're going to get replaced, we're being invaded, people think, oh, that's crazy talk. We're not. But you mentioned abortion. There's fallen birth rates anyway among the Irish population. The birth rate of Ireland is declining and the abortion rates are going up. And you couple that with a massive influx of people from outside of Ireland, then forget about a conspiracy or anything else. Mathematics now. Mathematics tells us.
You're 100% correct. And emigration, or the demographic of youngsters who are at childbearing age, the people who are leaving to Australia are in their early 20s, late 20s. That's the most important demographic, because they're the ones who are going to be having children and they're leaving to Australia. So you combine emigration, abortion, and then the LGBT stuff that's radicalizing children's brains. That's going to stop them having children too. So we're talking about burning the candle at both ends. It really is. We're facing demographic collapse here.
And it's mathematics. It's mathematics. Forget about conspiracies, or it's mathematics. If you have a reducing population, a reducing birth rate, young people that are of childbearing age leaving the country and being replaced by people coming in from overseas, the mathematics are that the Irish Indigenous population will be replaced after a period of time. The only question is, how long do we have? But before we get into that, let's look at this clip from Letterkenny, talking about Letterkenny and, of course, your own patch, which is County Donegal.
Or as we call it, Letterkenny.
Letterkenny, all right, here we go.
A town that's been completely destroyed. There is an invasion happening in Letterkenny, Donegal. Not only Donegal, Ireland. So I'm asking the people of Letterkenny, do you accept this? Are you happy to sit back and allow your towns, your cities, your villages, your country being destroyed, being Islamified? I've been protesting, I've been speaking out against this proposed mosque for well over now a year and a half. And where's the rest of the people of Donegal? Come on, we have to stand up and say no to this. So, just reiterating why we're here. We're at this ancient abbey in Letterkenny, and right over my shoulder there is a mosque that's just got approved, a mega mosque in Letterkenny, County Donegal. Ireland is a Christian country. We're a Christian nation. Ireland is the land of saints and scholars. Now we are being completely Islamified. Our country, our heritage has been taken off us, and if you don't stand up for what you have, it will be taken away. So people of Ireland, the people of Donegal, people of Letterkenny, will you stand up now and fight for your children's rights, fight for your children's future? I'm asking, what are you going to do? You're going to sit back and watch the Man United game and watch the football on the TV and do nothing while your country's been destroyed? What about, I've got children, I'll have grandchildren, great-grandchildren, I'm doing this for them.
And that's the bottom line, isn't it? Even if you don't care about, your next door neighbor or whatever the thing happens to be, you've got to be conscious of the fact that someone else is going to inherit this mess. If we don't see this in our lifetime, which is, we are seeing it, but let's say, it doesn't fully happen before we kick the bucket, it most certainly will happen in my daughter's lifetime and in your kid's lifetime as well.
No, we're you played a good video, or an interesting video about Letterkenny, because people really of Ireland and the world need to know what's happening. I think that's the 4th mosque to be built in Letterkenny. There's 3 already in the town, but this is they're really going for a big one now. I mean, big mosque. And I've been trying to oppose it for a long time. I've been opposing for well over a year and a half. No politician said anything about it. Locals, TD said nothing about it. Even social media influencers. I don't think anyone has talked about it because they're kind of walking on eggshells. They don't want to talk about it. And they picked that site particularly because there's an ancient abbey, like an ancient monastery dedicated to Ireland's patron saint, one of 3 patron saints, St. Columkill. And he's from that area. He was born in Garton, not too far away from there. And, there's ring force, there's raft, there's standing stones, there's balan stones, there's souterrains, there's rock art right in that wee small area. There's the Church of the Holy Martyrs that's beside that site as well, and it's up on a hill. So the Muslims, they pick these sites strategically so they can look over the town and beam out the call to prayer too, because that's what's common as well. And like Ireland has been Islamified before our eyes here as well.
The thing is, too, I mean, if you flip this on its head, for anyone that's thinking, oh, now you're just intolerant, that, you should live and let live, there's no way in hell that you would go somewhere like if you decided to, if you and I and all the families and all the followers of Síol Na and all the subscribers to our channels decided to up sticks and move into the Middle East, right? And said, right, we're the Irish diaspora. We want to have our culture, we want to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and we want to build a church slap bang beside, a local mosque, for example. That wouldn't be happening.
No, of course it wouldn't be happening. Not at all. And like I forgot to mention there, on the site where they want to build this mosque, there's a holy well dedicated to St. Columkill as well. A holy well. And somehow they've we opposed it, we put in objections, and the planning permission was stopped, it was halted for a year. Then they had to go to an appeal. Then they dig out 2 or 3 like small trenches to see that there was no archaeological finds, and apparently they dug down little, like I don't know, 12 inches, and they didn't find anything. So there was no archaeological finds, even though the place is surrounded by archaeological finds, and there's a holy well on site that's probably thousands of years old, probably predates Christianity, which a lot of the holy wells in Ireland do, and they still got the go ahead. Like you say, can you imagine if we went to like Saudi Arabia and tried to build a Catholic church in Mecca or on the site, right, like on top of a site, a Muslim site or whatever, like a holy relic? They would not a chance would this be allowed. But the Irish regime, they've no problem handing out planning permission for mosques on top of our holy sites.
And the thing is, too, in terms of building, you mentioned Sligo, and we'll sort of wrap it up on this one. You talked about a protest. Is it this Saturday coming? It's going to happen
this coming Saturday, 3 p.m. Sligo town, Queen Maeve's town square, I think is where it is. This Saturday, 3 p.m. Sligo town. Yep.
I covered that thing going up about 2 or 3 months ago. There was a young fella on X or Twitter, and he's been video documenting the building of this. You described it as a town within a town. And
Declan Moore.
Declan Moore is his name. But you can check out his Twitter X page. He just walks around videoing this, and he's documented the rise of this from the ground up. Now, the same thing is happening across different parts of Ireland as well. There's an entire village has been built in Clonmel for Ukrainian refugees with modular homes. The City West Hotel in Saggart in Dublin has been bought by the Irish state at a price of at least 150 million euro for a hotel with 2,000 units. They've bought the conference facility as well, and 50 acres of undeveloped land around that area, slap bang in prime real estate location in Dublin. And they're talking now about a 25-year plan. Jim O'Callaghan went on there and says, we reckon we'll save money within 5 years, and over the course of 25 years, we're going to do this. And Simon Harris, the Taoiseach, is talking about state ownership of iPass centres. They don't want the moving the site away from an old convent in Castleblaney. They're looking at places like City West, or they're looking at places like this thing in Sligo. And once they're in place, the government seems to have at least a quarter of a century vision for where these are going. Does that not really underscore the importance of doing something now? Because once this is established, I hate to be pessimistic, but I'm a realist. Once this thing gets up and running and it's embedded, it's going to be damn hard to move it.
No, you're 100% right. It's like a military style takeover. Like you mentioned that place in Clonmel, they're building like a military style camp and you see all these pods. It's like a military operation, and they're doing the same down in Blessington, County Wicklow, the City West Hotel, this place in Sligo. Like, it's frightening what they're doing, and that's why we need to get out now, stand up for your rights, for your children, for your grandchildren. Like, we don't have time. Once, as Rich said there, once these things are established, it's very difficult to walk them back. And there never seems to be there's no limit on immigration. You're chatting about a 25-year plan. There's just there's no upper limit to immigration. They just keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you're another despised minority. And we've seen nothing yet. Wait till these people get power, and they will get power. There's a national action plan initiated in Ireland by the Irish regime to do the old walk through every single institution, teaching. They say that there's too many white Catholic teachers. We need to diversify teachers. Too many white Catholic Gardaí, the police force of Ireland. We need to diversify the police force in Ireland. The civil service, every institution you can think of, politicians, too many white Christian politicians. We need to diversify it. So they've actually a national action plan now, an anti-racist national action plan. So you'll see it now in the coming years. There's the walk through the institutions, the universities, etc., to diversify all these institutions, and then we'll really see the crackdown then, and when they'll start getting power then, and you know what's going to happen then.
Yeah, so there's a lot of urgency here, folks. And, you know, in the time that we've been talking here, we've covered quite a bit of ground. And I really appreciate you taking time out of your morning. I know you're a busy man, and I know you've got other things you could be doing here. But it's just to give people an idea of what you do, really, what you're active in, and the importance of being active yourself, listener. It's not just about listening to me talking or Niall talking. We need to get active where we can. And it doesn't necessarily mean leading a party or leading a movement. Just get involved somehow. Even sharing videos, that's another simple thing that's free. Cut and paste the link, drop it into a Facebook group, drop it into a WhatsApp group, send it as an email to someone. It's free to do that, and it only takes 5-10 seconds. You know, there's something everybody can be doing.
No, 100%. At the very least, people can do is share these videos. You know, put them on your WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, email it out, send it to your mother, send it to your father. Say, listen to this madman here from Donegal, and listen to this madman here from, is it Bangor you're from? Is it
County Down?
County Down. I listen to this madman from County Down chatting about immigration. So that's the very least you can do, you know, and get out there, fight for your children's future. We don't have much time. Don't be waiting for someone else to do it. You know, I'm just a sheep farmer from Donegal. I said, look, I'm not sitting back and doing nothing. At least I can say to my children and my grandchildren, at least I did something. I didn't stand back and do nothing. Like, because they might say to me, Daddy, grandfather, why didn't you do nothing? I will be able to say, I tried. I'm sorry we didn't do enough, but at least I tried anyway.
That's it, and that's all we can do, folks. We can try, and if we're going to die, we're going to die with our boots on. And there's an old saying as well, it's better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. So we're not going to roll over and take this one lightly. But listen, thank you again so much. Niall, that's Niall McConnell from Síol Na, hÉirann, Castlefin, County Donegal. I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media. And for now, this is me, over and out.